All right, welcome everyone to another fantastic episode of Footy Fantasy Podcast. On this
Woo!
fantastic, yoo yes, I can see somebody's really excited to be here. Exactly. So we have
I'm
Queen.
not excited. Made me do this. I was literally at the bar about to get another drink. I was like, we're going live in 1 hour. I had to walk home. I'm furious.
Oh no, you really needed that drink, definitely.
Man, and Diaz better have paid for it.
And so thank you for joining us, Queen's Council today, Linger. Yeah, and we also have Ace. Thank you for joining us, Ace. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic. And well, we're going to do a bit of housekeeping first before we dive into it. Basically, this is your Footy Fantasy podcast. You can please like, share, subscribe. We have our YouTube handle at Footy Fantasy, all in caps. Twitter handle is at Footy AD Fantasy. And then Instagram's at Fantasy Footy. Please give us a follow, subscribe, share, like, all of that jazz. And we have our unique selling point where we just, like, from a perspective of, you know, the African motherland
Yeah.
perspective, we usually provide it.
The angry Nigerians group.
Yeah,
And though, guys, don't forget.
And West Africa is best Africa. That's Linger's slogan.
Preach, amen.
So we're going to leave all that behind because today I think just an hour ago or so, we just finished watching another Titanic clash at Anfield, Liverpool versus Man City. So it was the latest installment in the ongoing saga between Pep Guardiola and Klopp. And and the record, Pep's record at Anfield has been woeful, and I think he has only one win now in 9 games.
Right.
Lost 5 times, drew 3, including today, and won once when Anfield was empty during the pandemic in an empty Anfield. So you can see why I'm not so surprised that Liverpool battered them second half. But my overriding feeling is I think Liverpool might regret not winning this game. The reason why I say that is we will drop points at some stage, and I don't see any guarantee that City are going to drop points later. They probably will drop points too, but the incentive was there to open up a 4-point gap. The draw is fine, but I really wanted the win. So my overriding feeling is, man, we really should have won that. I know Arsenal fans were really plumping for a draw. Not Ace. Ace is an Arsenal fan. He said, well, he didn't really care whether it was a draw or not. But I know most Arsenal fans. In fact, my brother-in-law is an Arsenal fan. Sent me. He has not really texted me for a while, and he's an Arsenal fan. He texted me right after the match and was like, "Oh, fantastic results!" I was like, "Look at you. You've not texted me all this while, but we drew today." So I'm sure most Arsenal fans will be happy with that. But I'll go to you first, Linger. What's your view on that game? How did you see the game? We'll talk about the nitty-gritty later, but what's your overriding feeling first?
Yeah. I think I'm glad we're doing this an hour later, so I've had a little more time to process it. I don't know if any of you guys saw both Virgil and John Stones after the game on the on-pitch interviews. We're just a little shell-shocked. I still feel like worked up and tired. Like, again, I just really feel Titanic battle. Like, both teams were really good, are well coached, are so different, have different strengths and different weaknesses. I think after the first half, if you had offered me a draw in the beginning, I would have been like, no, we're gonna win. After the first half, I would have been like, yes, please, God, a draw. And after the second half, I would have been like, oh my God, I can't believe we let this go. So I think my overall feeling is like any sane team in football will take a draw with Manchester City, but we could have won. We could have won. The crowd was brilliant. Diaz.
Oh my God.
No, but it's one of those things where, like, I don't want the narrative to now be he was so terrible. He was actually amazing the whole game.
He was
not putting away those chances. It was crazy. Like, so proud of all of our. I mean, Endo, Virgil. Oh my God, everyone was so good. So for me, I walk away like I wanted to win. but to draw with the City side who were sleek, fine-tuned, amazing. Like, I think that we should have won. So I'm annoyed, but you always take a draw against City if you can get one, because we could have lost. Like, crossbar, God protected us.
Crossbar and Doku. Yeah, that's true. That's true. We could have lost, but I think we had the clearer chances. And before I get AEs to comment, I just hope there's going to be the media circus, the way they did against Nottingham Forest, where they were talking about the drop ball for like the whole week. A drop ball that happened 2 minutes before Liverpool scored. I hope they're going to do the circus on the penalty incident at the end, where McAllister gets kicked in the chest and they say no penalty. I hope they're going to start shouting monumental error, because
they wouldn't give a pen. It's hard because anywhere else it feels like it would logically be a foul. I just don't think they're going to give a pen in that moment in this situation. But I do think, I mean, I don't want a circus. I just want consistency. My bigger thing is that Kyle Walker was such a bastard the whole game and didn't get a yellow early. I have other repping qualms that are bigger than that one, but it was frustrating.
I just feel it could have gone our way, because I know he got a bit of the ball, but getting a bit of the ball doesn't mean you then foul the opponent. When somebody gets touched,
Wolverine, man, like
touched in the chest, like come on. Yeah, but I know why they didn't give it, because I know it should have become a big narrative, and I know people will probably kick up a fuss and say, oh, why did you give that last minute penalty? It's too the game was too delicate for that. But I mean, that's a penalty incident that we've seen. We've seen softer penalties. We've seen people get penalties for less, So I'll bring in AEs anyway. Arsenal fan, what was your view? I'll just quickly read some comments, and then AEs, I'll just read comments. Ayo Dele, of course, Man United fan here, enjoyed it as a neutral. He said that was a brilliant game, and props to him for saying Liverpool were the better side. He says this title race will go down to the wire, which is, for sure. It's a three-way race.
I already have one gray hair from the title race. I have a gray hair. It's only going to get worse from here, guys.
Toby the corner is coming in all guns blazing on Haaland. He said Haaland was pretty useless. Wow. Yeah, well, to be fair, Haaland
dances around fraud watch a little bit for me, to be honest. Like,
I think his game is not to be involved like Nunes. Like, we'll come back to that.
True.
Because Nunes is always in the game. Haaland doesn't really involve himself in the game. He's there for a finisher. Henry said it's the mad inconsistencies. Okay, I think it's about the referee. He said it wasn't necessary at all. But Henry also says, but the best 2 Premier League teams show their class today. So, hey, sorry for holding you so long. Please give us your view on the game.
I just think the reason why the penalty wasn't given, because of the timing, like it was like maybe the end of the game, and also also because McAllister didn't try to like go for the ball with his head because the ball was high. Like he wasn't trying to like throw his head, and I think Duku got a little of the ball, but it was a foul anyway, But this Premier League referee, sometimes they give a penalty.
We know.
Same incident, like I said, depending on the match, and I think overall, when I saw the lineup, I gave Manchester City the upper hand to win the game because of the 2 defenders close to Van Dijk, but at the end of the day, both of them showed class.
They're great.
This was a big match. I think this is their biggest match they've ever played before, but they did very well overall. Liverpool had a chance to win it. Diaz had 2 chances to score, but he couldn't take it. But I think I'll say Manchester City will be the happiest side getting a draw at Anfield because Liverpool played very well. They played very well. So, but it was a good game for us. So,
so I'll just go into the nitty gritty. I think City started the stronger side. The first 15-20 minutes, they were all over Liverpool. And that corner kick routine, man, wow. I'm sure they must have worked on that so well. The corner kick that led to the goal.
Stone said they walked
straight from the training pitch. That's straight from the training ground. That's corner kick. So that was a fantastic one. Going into this game, I'm going to tell you, I wasn't happy with the lineup, and I said it in our WhatsApp group too. The reason being, I felt maybe Gomez should have played center back with Van Dijk, and then we should have started Robertson. And I think I would have wanted Salah to start. I know maybe they think Salah is not fit enough yet, but I would have risked him. Really, I would have risked him from the start. I don't, all this medical team, they're so cautious. Oh, they're like, oh, he can only play 15 minutes or 20 minutes. No, let him, I'm sure he wants to play 90 minutes. Salah wants to play 90 minutes. So I was not happy. I was not happy with the lineup because I felt Salah should have started and Robertson should have started. But like Ace rightly said, Bradley and Kwanzaa stepped up. I mean, they played very well for young boys who are just, one is 20, one is 21. Yeah. I mean, this guy has really stepped up in like the biggest game of the season in the league, basically. So the second half, of course, Liverpool just dominated all through. But you guys are also right because City could have won it. They hit the crossbar and they also hit the post.
Yeah, kudos.
So
the white player for Manchester City hit the bar. So for me, when I was watching that match, I was scared because I didn't want City to win. I didn't want City to win. I wanted Liverpool to win, or just like I said, a draw. Not because I'm an Arsenal fan, because I still think Arsenal is still going to play City. You know, I still think Arsenal is still not there yet. They're still not there yet mentally.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Hey, there's an Arsenal section coming up, and that's why we are happy to have you because you will give us. We have an Arsenal section coming up, and you'll be able to give us a lot of insight. But I'm really interested in hearing the Arsenal perspective. So I mean, the game, of course, Lingard, you are correct. Of course, I'm not happy Diaz missed chances, but the guy is a warrior. I just like he never gives up. Oh man, the guy keeps going. And I said in our group chat, I said, this is where we miss Mane, this kind of game. I mean,
listen,
Mane,
guys, please don't
two of those chances.
I will derail this whole podcast.
You know the person who would have made a difference today for Liverpool if Jota had that 2 chance that Diaz had.
Yeah, Jota probably would have scored it. Yeah, Jota would have scored it.
Actually,
not just Mane, Jota.
Ramo,
if you guys had Jota there, Jota would have scored.
Lingard, please go ahead because I know you're chairman of Mane FC. Please go ahead.
Well, I think we missed Mane, but I agree with you in that like I am not willing to risk Mo because at the end of the day, I'll take a draw with City and he can make the difference in beating some of these other teams. But I think Robbo should have started. He seemed fit enough. So I wish he had started because he's a little similar to Trent sometimes, and I think we actually really missed Trent today. We missed Jota because no matter what happens, Jota will just get a goal. Like you won't see him the whole game. Kind of like Haaland, you won't even see him, and then he'll just get a goal. And I'm like, oh, I forgot you were playing. Like we needed that kind of thing. But I think it's just hard. I think it was hard. I think like both teams really left it on the pitch very intensely. So I don't know there's nothing else I could have asked for Liverpool beyond Diaz scoring those goals. Like it wasn't like when we lost to Arsenal. When we lost to Arsenal, I was angry. I was like, we did not play well. They outplayed us. I don't think City outplayed us. I think we're both on good sides.
They were hanging on. City were hanging on.
Yeah, exactly. They were hanging on.
They were hanging on. Let's take comments. This is an interesting one from Toby. Thank you, Toby. This is an insightful comment, actually. He says City looked leggy second half. And De Bruyne, that's a talking point because De Bruyne got taken off and he was arguing with Pep all through. Like the next 5 minutes, he was still arguing with Pep after he was popped up. And said, basically, Toby said De Bruyne was bright red. Yes, he was bright red and done by the time he went off. Alan probably, it's true. Alan should have been subbed off to get more control of the game. He barely held up the ball and didn't help defensively. Yeah, Toby is right. That's very good analysis of what City did wrong. Because I mean, De Bruyne, I don't know why he's complaining. He didn't play well, apart from the assist. So I don't know why he's complaining that he doesn't want to go up.
It's a little uncharacteristic of him actually to complain so much because Pep even went up into the stands to sit with him, and I'm like, you're gonna have to cry more at home, sir. Please, the game is still on. Like what?
Henry is saying risk him. I think Henry is referring to my comment about Salah that we should have risked Salah. No. So Henry is saying, what if he gets out again? This guy knows the science behind the decision. I just feel that I was a bit too cautious sometimes. He says, are we still talking about Mane?
Wait. I got one of his shoes. Let me grab his boot.
Mane's boot.
This is Mane's boot.
The reason why I actually said that specific comment, I've not really missed Mane in that way. But I mean, in these big games against City, Mane always stepped up. Mane and Salah they don't miss chances. They're very good against City. So that's why I was talking about Mane. Not that I miss him overall, but in this specific kind of game, Mane would have made it.
Germany, Saudi, Mars, I don't care. We miss Mane. That is a pretty line.
Mane empty. Toby says Arsenal perspective. Arsenal's perspective, he said first he wanted a draw, and then Liverpool win, and then City win, of course. Yeah, of course, nobody wanted City to win. Henry said sub off for Wood though. I don't know who he was talking about.
If they took off Haaland.
Oh yeah, maybe he was talking about Haaland could have been subbed up for Wood. I think they could have put Alvarez up front to help defensively and then put Doku on the left. I mean, instead of taking Alvarez off, they could have done that, because it's true Haaland didn't contribute much. But that's how Haaland is. He doesn't contribute much anyway, but he's a finisher, and you can't blame him for that. That's his job, you know. So I'll come back to you now, because basically this was the last chapter of Klopp versus Pep in Premier League. This is the last chapter. They've drawn. So that rivalry was going for a long time. So basically Klopp is going. So my question now is, do you think Arteta is the next successor in this rivalry? Is it the one that will now be really, on top of Pep's business, winning leagues and fighting with him for league titles? What do you think?
I think so, because I don't see any manager now who can.
Yeah, there's no one else.
There's no one else, because Arsenal is the best third team in the Premier League, the third best team in the Premier League right now. So I don't see maybe Una Emre or maybe Postecoglou, but not yet. But I think it's just Arteta for now. Manchester United, Ten Hag, no way. So it's just Arteta.
But I think for me, that's more like, by just logically, he's the only one. But I wouldn't say that, to me, Arteta is stepping up and I see him as a rival to Pep. It's just that Klopp's going, so he's the third one.
Right. There's nobody else. Whichever way you look it, logically, reality, whichever way you look, there's nobody. I measure Emre, Postecoglou, Ten Hag. I don't see any of those.
Emery got his ass whooped today, man.
At classing
4-0
right now, So.
No, well, I think we have Steven, Spurs fan. just in time, you guys are talking about Postecoglou. We have Steven who is about to join us. So I'll add him to the podcast. Steven, are you with us?
Hey, how you doing, y'all?
Long time no see, brother. Good to have you with us.
Yeah, how you doing, man?
Yeah, we're good. We're just coming into this segment where we're talking about the next manager who can rival Guardiola, and of course we can see basically Spurs did the business today. So I was thinking, okay, if Arteta, apart from Arteta, okay, that seems to be the consensus is Arteta is the next guy to take on Pep. But what do you think about Postecoglou, Mr. Mate, the mate from Australia? How do you?
High line.
Wow. That's fast. I like him, but I think he has to, even Arteta, it's early. You have to win something first.
Yeah, right.
You got to win something first. Like, it's even Ange. I mean, I've liked his run the whole season, but we're pretty much, like, his style works if you have Maddison. When we don't have Maddison, we don't look like this team. Well, we look like this team, but we're losing without Maddison. If you remember, we started the season, we did like eight or 9 game run, really good.
Right.
And Maddison got hurt, and we had a bad 6 or 7 games. So Maddison just lights it up. And if you don't have the creativity, then it's just people running and gunning. That's our style. So I wouldn't put Ange in there at all. I wouldn't. I like him, but I wouldn't put him there at all. We don't even know if his style actually works at the highest level of the game. We're just fifth. In the league. So,
it works if everything is working perfectly, but when you had Maddison out and then Son was gone, Sarr was gone, I think Bissouma was suspended or injured, whatever. Like, you had a bunch of people who were gone who fit it perfectly, and I think that's where Spurs really took themselves out of being in the top 4. I mean, they might still come fourth, but like, you started the season so well, but a bunch of your key players for that style are gone.
Absolutely.
sorry to cut you short. Let me ask a follow-up question regarding the Klopp is leaving and who's going to rival Manchester City. Tottenham, remember, they have a good record when it comes to beating City.
Yeah.
So if Arsenal or Tottenham beat City and City still win the league, it takes away the rivalry between who, I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. There's no rivalry then, even though Tottenham beat City home and away and City end up winning the league. There's no rivalry there.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about next season, when Klopp is gone. Because I believe the reason why I'm asking that is what's Andrew being his second season with Spurs. So he will have more time to build, integrate all the players he needs to integrate. So for me, I think I see Spurs stepping up next season. Emery would also have a second season in Villa. So you will have more time to integrate new players. So that's why I'm thinking, okay, all these managers have a second season to integrate their style. Maybe they'll step up more because I mean, that's the only reason I said so. But let's quickly take some comments because Facebook user, please, whoever you are logging in from Facebook, let us have your name. You said Haaland has been useless, but the game has got 5 goals. Oh, that's harsh. I don't really agree with that, to be honest. Some people just discredit goals. I mean, goal scoring is the most important thing in football. Like seriously, they just no, he's been useless or he's just scoring goals, so he's useless. Come on, and I don't agree with that. He has not been useless. It's a big game. This type of game is tight. It's scored against us at Etihad. It's scored against Liverpool. So I mean,
if Haaland was useless today, what about Kevin? What about Foden? Foden is a form, but I didn't really. Yeah. I didn't really I didn't see the Foden effect today. He was locked out too, totally.
Another comment from Toby said, when Erik ten Hag is not frying fish. Okay, I shouldn't laugh because Liverpool are going to play Ten Hag next Sunday, so let me not tempt fate by
hold on, man. What is that comment saying? Is he saying that Erik ten Hag should be in this conversation about
that's what Toby is saying.
Replacing Klopp and Pep.
Yes.
There's no conversation. It's just Klopp and Pep. Like maybe in 3 years, let's put in our calendar to the 4 of us can meet and discuss it again. But like unless Arsenal win the league this season and then go on to go head to head, there's no conversation. It's just Klopp and Pep.
I agree. It's very tough to have that conversation. Because
it is.
Nobody else has so much skin in the game in terms of time, even years in the game, and then no championships. So it's not even a situation of we're comparing somebody with 1 championship to their 3 or 4. It's just 2. We can't even have this conversation, man.
They have beaten each other the most of anyone who's beaten them in their own respective careers, and they've won this, and they've both finished more than 90 points for 3. You know what I mean? There's no. I think these other teams don't compare right now.
It's just gonna be Guardiola against Guardiola, unless
Arteta
has to try.
Yeah, unless
Xabi Alonso, let's go. The rivalry continues.
Stephen, before I proceed, Stephen, because we have you here as a sports fan, so what's your reckoning for the rest of the season? What do you think you guys are making top 4? Do you think? I mean, are you locked in for top 5 or top 4? What are you thinking?
Thank you. First of all, I chose the right day to come in. As a champion, you got to pick your moments, right?
Champion of what now, please?
Exactly.
I'm a champion in many respects. I don't have to go into all of them here,
but trophies. Just a champion in every respect apart from having trophies.
No, me. I always speak about myself. I'm not speaking about Spurs.
Okay, fair. Yes, you're a champion.
Spurs. We can't talk about Spurs as champions yet. Anyway, so you were saying top 4. We're 2 points behind, game in hand. So I don't know exactly what was wrong with Aston Villa. I'm sure you guys might have gone into it, or we can go into it. I don't know. When I say I don't know exactly what was wrong, is because they changed their style.
Yeah, they went 3 at the back.
What Emery's thinking.
You are scared.
He goes into this last 10 games of the season with this whatever mindset he had today, then we have a chance. For some reason, he decided to go defensive. I don't know, because of injuries. He still had almost all their impact players.
Yeah.
So I think Diaby came off the bench, but Bailey was there. Or I could be wrong on Diaby, but
Watkins
Bailey was there.
there.
Tielemans started. I couldn't understand why he chose to go with 5 defenders.
I think he was playing for a draw. I think he wanted to keep it tight and play for a draw. I think so.
Managers have these ideas in their head of how they approach the season, whether it's start the season in a high-intensity training or reduce it, or start with a certain tactic. Whatever he's doing, if he decides to be sloppy in these last 10 games of the season, then we have a chance. It's just that, because Aston Villa is a tough team. I see them doing it if we have any injuries at all. If we have any injuries at all, it's not going to happen for us because our team is so reliant on Maddison.
So I'm saying the narrative being peddled now. Like somebody in one of our WhatsApp group was saying, like Spurs are the kingmakers for this title race now. Because Spurs hosts Arsenal, Spurs are coming to Liverpool, and Spurs host City. So it's like Spurs are the kingmakers. So what's your view on that? Do you think that you guys really hold the key to who wins the title this season?
Because our team is so reliant on Maddison for it to work, I think Poro too. We have to have those fullbacks that are really good. We use Udoji for every game. He's maybe 21, 22. He plays every single game. So when he was out, we also struggled. So we need him to just be a horse, and he has been so far. But if we lose Poro, Udoji, or Maddison, what happens to us does kind of decide the championship in a way. But it's so tenuous for us that I can't proclaim that we're going to be top 4. I think you're right. I think there's more chance of us deciding who is going to be top 4 than us being top 4, if you understand.
I feel you. I feel you.
It's his first season, and he's still figuring out the
system.
So
I mean, he's a great manager for you guys.
Look at Van de Ven. Sorry to interrupt. Van de Ven. He is so important. When we lose him, we're a different team. We lost him today, and it worked. We were quite fortunate because we had Watkins, and we were Dragusin was able to deal with that, and then they got the red card. But if we Van de Ven for, let's say, 6 out of the last 10 games, we're a different team.
All right, let me take comments. Facebook user, please. If you're logging in from Facebook, put your name because we don't really know who you are. You say Villa and Spurs are not ready. Well, fair enough. I think Villa probably blew it today because if Villa had won today, they would have been closer to the top. But losing 4-0, I mean, they are definitely out of it. Toby is responding to you, Stephen, because you are like, Arteta has not won anything. Toby is telling you Arteta won the FA Cup.
Championship.
Well, then Arteta won the FA Cup in his first season. Facebook user again, you say, how can you say it's too early for Arteta when he's the only one that's gone toe-to-toe with City in the last 2 seasons? In the last 2 seasons.
Means it comes down to the last day, not you crumble at Anfield and then absolutely Please read.
I don't know about toe-to-toe. Well, Ayo is talking about Ange. Ayo says he's very impressed with Ange. He thinks if Spurs recruiting continues in this direction over the next 2 seasons, he thinks Ange will challenge. Yeah, the problem is Spurs recruiting is always up and down, and that's because of Daniel Levy, as usual, you know. Your his prediction is Arteta will win the league 2024-2025. Wow, what a shout. Hey, do you agree with that?
And that I will shut down the forum, so say goodbye now.
Yeah, like I said before, I said Arsenal is still a little bit shy of winning the league. Why did I say that? Because the nerviness is still there. Even the season, the match they played against Brentford, they were a little bit nervy. You know, they were nervous. So they still need to put their emotion aside, find a balance before I think Arsenal can win the league. Next season, I think they will do better than what they're doing right now. Even though we don't win the league now, but I'm happy. Well, I'm happy with what Arteta is doing with the team right now because I cannot remember for a very long time, like we've never seen anything like this competitiveness in the Arsenal player. That we're seeing from last season till now. So I don't care if people keep saying Arsenal bottled the league. I don't see it that way. I don't just think that they are not in the level of City and Liverpool. That's why they can't hold on. But I see them. I'm happy that they're getting better, so that's it.
I think people wrote Arsenal off too early this season. I was like a few weeks ago, I hosted the podcast and it was a 5 points gap between Liverpool and Arsenal at that point. And I was like, man, people are writing off Arsenal too early. Arsenal, 5 points is
nothing. Exactly.
Yeah, 5 points is nothing. And look now, we're 11 on points. And they're even ahead of Liverpool on goals difference. So, yeah, people wrote off Arsenal too early. Librova says Unai has his eye on the Conference League. Says they will tail off in the league. We saw it at Arsenal. Oh, good shout. Well, because Unai Emery loves winning European trophies, so maybe he doesn't care about Arsenal.
I just think Villa is having tired legs now because the Premier League is a difficult league to win. They have a tired leg. It's not their style of play. It's just that the players are getting tired. That's it.
Toby says in this rivalry, Liverpool has won the league only once. Yes, we know that. But we've won everything else too.
But I mean, with Klopp and Pep, call it a rivalry. If the managers think it's a rivalry,
we've won everything else.
I like Toby. Toby always has controversial statements, man. I see his statements. It's like, come on now. What else do you have to do to have a rivalry? I think it's a legit rivalry. They're the two biggest teams in the league. Their games are always showdowns in terms of quality, in terms of just the size of the event. And they have won. If they hadn't won the title ever, then it doesn't make sense. Not a real rivalry. But they won it. And they challenge Man City to the end most times. Usually.
Yeah. But I just did think, like Pep said that Liverpool is very hard for him to beat. But I just did think when it comes to what Manchester City have won in the last 5 years or 6 years, they're still a little bit bigger than Liverpool when it comes to how many times Manchester City have won the title.
One more.
Compared
100%. I would never disagree. But it's factual, right? They've won the league more. They've done the treble. What's a bigger club is a slightly different conversation. But I do think that, it just is a rivalry, even if they've won more than we have. It's like you're saying, the tension, the way we feel about each other.
Like I said before, when they say rivalry, even if City lost to Spurs home and away, and City still win the league, like for me, I don't see, like, if you say individual games, how many times City have lost to Spurs? We can argue that, but when it comes to like who's bigger, like it's clear, So
Librova says Leo Brova. Why am I saying Librova? Sorry. I think it's Leo Brova. Okay. Arteta is the next rival to City. Arteta is ahead of those teams in terms of their process. It only makes sense. Okay. Yeah. And I think the Arsenal fans are coming out in full force tonight. I don't blame them because, this draw was the best result they could have had. Toby says Arsenal finished second to City.
Sorry, they're doing what Arsenal fans do best, fighting for second.
No, they're top of the league now. They're top of the league. You can't say that. They're top of the league.
No, but they're fighting to say that they come after City. That's the point.
No, they want to win the league, man. Can't you see? Some of them are already celebrating Lonely. I have a video here, Arsenal fan dancing to Lonely at the top. Like they are lonely at the top. So, man, they're not coming for second. They won the league, man. Seriously. 20 years is a long time, 20 years.
They're fighting to say that at the end of the Pep Guardiola fight, they come next.
Oh, okay. Well, next season. Yeah, that's what we're saying. Toby says Arteta finished second to City. And it's right there again. And sorry, go ahead, Linger.
The difference between, I'm not saying Arsenal didn't push City, but I'm saying it's not a rivalry. Like Liverpool City, 2 different seasons has come down to the last day and 1 point. How far behind City was Arsenal? You know what I mean? It's just not the same thing. It's not the same conversation.
I think some people are misconstruing what a rivalry is. Mr. Facebook user is saying Klopp won 1 league in 8 years, but that's a rivalry. And number 1, Klopp and Arteta did not arrive at the same time in England. And number 2, Liverpool didn't contest for the league straight away. We didn't contest until maybe 3rd year for Klopp. So in the last 5 seasons, I don't see why anybody should deny that this is a rivalry. because Liverpool have knocked them out.
Fans don't understand this, but we won the Champions League, so the bigness.
And we knocked out City from the Champions League.
I know you don't understand what that means.
We knocked out City from the Champions League. We knocked Lingard. They think the league is the only thing that is rivalry based. In the Champions League, Liverpool knocked out City. We knocked City out of the FA Cup. So they think it's just the league, but I don't know. Maybe they don't understand.
Team in Europe, you win this trophy that's called the Champions League, and because Liverpool won one and City's won one, it adds to our rivalry.
Oh,
you know?
Okay.
I know you won the FA Cup. Sorry, I apologize. No. Yes, you won the FA Cup.
Statistically, we can bring Chelsea into the conversation because Chelsea beat Manchester City in the Champions League final. So
yeah, but the Chelsea contest in the past 5 years.
Chelsea 10th. Can we leave Chelsea out of this?
The Chelsea contest in the title with City. I don't know why you're bringing Chelsea into the past. Chelsea, don't let them catch stray bullets. Don't let them catch stray bullets unnecessarily. Don't bring Chelsea into this, please. Some people just don't really understand the meaning of rivalry anyway. Lil Brother says, isn't this a nitty-gritty game that Foden was going to show us something? Foden is catching stray bullets here, please. I think he did okay. He did okay. He had the ball hit his head and the ball hits the crossbar. So he contributed something.
That was a crazy
it was his hand too. You're right. He contributed something to the game. Ayo says Ten Hag is an interim manager. Wow, this is a big shout. He says Ten Hag is an interim. He said he's done.
I wish Ayo was here. I want to know if
records. Ayo has broken so many records.
I want to know if Ayo wants Poch at Man U when he gets sacked from Chelsea.
Interesting question for Ayo. Maybe Ayo can reply in the comments. Ayo, Steven says, do you want Pochettino at Man United after he gets sacked from Chelsea? Please respond. We go to Oga Kwame. Oga Kwame says the new rivalry will be everything out of Pep. Both will be in jail for criminal activity. Ten Hag for being a fraud and Pep for financial doping. Oga Kwame coming with the fire. Thank you. I clap for Oga Kwame. Thank you for coming with that fire. Henry says stop Guinea. Okay, Lil Brother says top four is open because Unia had his eyes distracted with Conference League. This narrative about Conference League, I don't know. I ask a message for you, Stephen. He says, Stephen, you have been ducking. You have been ducking the podcast, especially when they've been losing. Is that true, Stephen? Have you been ducking coming on this podcast?
We haven't been losing that much. I mean, we're fifth, so we haven't been losing that much. So, I mean, he needs to answer the question. Stop dodging the question.
Okay. Okay. Facebook user Oluwaseun. Okay. Yeah, Seun. Thanks for identifying yourself. He's telling you, Stephen, that Spurs will be Spurs. Yeah. Any response?
People say that, but I think that whole idea of being Spursy is just due to the managers. You know, it's managerial decisions. That's all Spursy is. If you're at the final of the Champions League and you decide to bench Lucas Moura, who had a hat trick, and play Harry Kane, who had one leg, now it looks Spursy because you didn't show up in the Champions League final, but that's just a manager decision.
Wait, who won that game?
No, I know who won that game. We don't have to mention the name, but I'm speaking about Spurs right now. Thank you, lady.
Fair enough.
Let's take a comment from Henry. Henry is an Arsenal fan, actually. So I think he's just one of the ones that are pessimistic. I think he's an Arsenal fan for sure. I think Henry. But he's saying you guys have a self-destruct button. I'm not sure. I think Arsenal are staying all the way to the end this season. I don't think there's no any self-destruct. In fact, I think Arsenal might beat City. I won't be surprised if Arsenal beat City after the international break. I won't be surprised. Quick comment from Oluwaseun. It says Brentford beat City home and away. That's true last season, and they still won the league. No one cares what you do versus Brentford. Just got enough points. True. Fact. It's true. It's true. So somebody's responding and saying like, "Our Arsenal is a rival to some team but have not won the league in 20 years." Wow, this rivalry stuff is really, I don't know. People are just really taking it personal.
Who are they a rival to? Are they a rival to United?
I don't know. 20 years. He said, "If Spurs do, please don't associate it with Arsenal." Okay, dear brother. Okay, let's just move on. I think there are a lot of comments. I might just need to skip some of these comments.
So question. So we play Arsenal, NLD on the 27th of April.
Oh, yeah.
Did Arsenal play Man City before or after that?
Oh, I can't remember.
Okay.
I can't remember.
I think they played Brighton. I think they played Brighton first, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Or City before Brighton, one of those.
Okay, I'll check
and
later.
that now games at the London Stadium. White Hart Lake, or what do you guys call your stadium now? Sorry.
The Emirates?
It's at the Sports Stadium, the London Stadium.
The London Stadium. Okay, wherever it is, it's away. It's away for us now. Okay. So, okay. Hopefully you beat them for us, please. Somebody saying ducking and claiming Kingmaker. Man, Steven, they are coming for you a lot. So they say you're just claiming Kingmaker, but you've been ducking and hiding.
You guys should leave this.
Hey, think about it. Think about it. Kingmakers always duck because Kingmakers cannot have that public face out there all the time. You have to have your face behind the scenes. You know, it makes sense. Come on.
All right. Ayo has responded to your question, Stephen. Ayo says he does not want Pochettino. His tactical game model will not take Man United to the top of the Premier League. Wow. Okay. People are dissing Pochettino now. Wow. Okay.
His team is terrible.
I've been waiting for this kind of text from Ari, because we used to have conversations about, I respect Poch, but he always believed that Poch was a great manager, better manager than he was. And I always say, I respect Poch, but he's not all that. And
it's proving it now.
Everybody sees it now. Everybody sees it now.
The blue £1 billion bottle jobs. That's what the evidence. That's the evidence.
He's making Chelsea Spursy. You know what I'm saying?
My goodness. Okay, but I ask a question for you. I think after this question, you guys can take a conversation offline, because this is not the Ayo and Steven show. Okay, but this is the final question. This is not the Ayo and Steven show.
I just saw the question.
He says, will you take your winning manager, Jose, back? Just quick answer, and then we move on. Yes or no? Will you take Jose back?
If Ange doesn't work out, yes.
Wow, fantastic. I love that. I love your conviction.
Oh, okay.
Ayo says Arsenal play Man City before the North London derby. Okay, thanks for confirming that. And well, of course, we know Arsenal play City immediately after the international break. That's true. This little brother, I'm sure this person is an Arsenal fan. He's saying Kingmaker trophy.
It's not an Arsenal fan. How do you know it's an Arsenal fan? It's not an
you guys you hate Spurs the most now. You Arsenal fans hate
like
Spurs
this.
Hey, at the end of the day, we always take a trophy, whether it's Kingmaker trophy or Audi Cup trophy. We still get a trophy.
I don't know why people hate. Like, I'm an Arsenal fan, but I like Spurs. I like Spurs. I like the way they play.
Spurs.
I like the way Spurs play. They play good football. I like this coach.
Wow.
This is your coach.
I like this guy.
Yeah,
I think
he would do.
No, for real.
I think he would do well with Spurs. Trust me.
I apologize.
He'll be good.
I was on a call with my parents, so I didn't start. But what is your name? The Arsenal fan.
He's
yeah. No,
the first Arsenal fan. He's the first Arsenal fan I've ever said I like Spurs. He's the first ever Arsenal fan.
Like, I love Arsenal because the way they play, but I don't fight other fan club just because I'm I say the way it is.
Fraudulent Arsenal fan in the comments.
Right.
I agree, man. Let me tell you, all my brothers are Arsenal fans. I like Arsenal's play when they're playing well. I respect that. I don't have to just hate on Arsenal just because of the rivalry.
What is
right.
What exactly what's this? What's going on?
Now, if I find a moment,
what's happening here?
If I find a moment to
dog on Arsenal, I want that team to fail. I hate you.
If I find a moment to dog on Arsenal, I
want my brother to cry.
I always will, just for the banner, just for the banner. I'll do it. But
No. There's no way I can love United. Linger, can you ever like Man United? Can you ever like Man United?
Wiped off the face of this planet. I would be
exactly.
So and they can take my.
I don't understand these people.
Wow.
Okay, so Oluwaseun says, "Well, not Spurs under Conte and Jose." Well, I'm not sure what that refers to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's saying he doesn't
not.
like Spurs under those two managers.
Oh, okay. Little brother says, Ray, I think Ray has the Martin is not Martin. There's no way any of Liverpool fans say, we'll be talking nice about United. But thank you. Linger, that's what we just said. No way.
Literally never.
Can I make
it to my head?
You don't understand.
I would say Everton live in a nice city of
you
Liverpool.
Don't understand.
That's the only nice thing I could ever say.
Just because I say I like Spurs doesn't mean I support Spurs. There are certain players who played for Spurs that I wish played for Arsenal because I admire how they play. I like the players, not because I just love Spurs, just because the way they play, I admire. That's it.
Same thing. I agree. It's like me right now. I'm a Spurs fan. How can I just hate on Arsenal and not admit that Odegaard is at the top of his game?
I would never pick a United player. They are all trash.
You have to like
every
good
United
football.
Player can go in the
good
bin.
football. You have to like good football.
Manu can join our academy though.
If we play together, I hate them. But if we're not playing them, it's okay. I don't care what they do. They can win their games.
God.
This is a true Man United fan. Look at Ayo. This is what we expect from United fans. He says, I would love Klopp to lose the title on the last day on goals difference. Exactly. This is what we expect.
Exactly.
I have a comment though.
That's what rivalry means. True rivalry. That's a proper United fan.
I have a comment on the comment that said not Spurs under Conte and Jose. I have to say, key difference between Conte and Jose. Jose gets ragged on for being so defensive, but something about Jose is he always recognizes real footballers. People need to remember that under Jose's time, whether he's playing defensive or not, he's the one manager in the last, let's say, 6 years that gave Ndombele freedom of the field. He will always be able to identify good players and let them play. But under Conte, Bissouma was at our club for about 9 months, did not see the pitch. And this is the same Bissouma that's central to everything that Ange is doing. That Ange is doing right now. So there's defensive and there's being defensive and understanding the game. So people shouldn't compare Conte to Jose. In fact, that comment was an insult. Just think about Conte and Jose in the same.
They won the same number of trophies as Spurs, guys. Let's just move on.
Jose would have won the trophy, but they sacked him before the final, unfortunately.
That was you guys' chance for real. Mourinho doesn't lose finals. That's crazy still.
That was so ridiculous, man.
Ray says he likes some Spurs players too. Ray cannot even spell Spurs because he hates Spurs so much. He puts SP, asterisk, and RS.
Like it's a swear word.
He hates Spurs so much he can't even spell Spurs.
That's not the reason. You Liverpool fans are just making it more difficult. That's not the reason.
I know they don't want to call you. He can't even bear typing Spurs. It's irritating to him, you know.
We're just trolling. Our rivalries are like. We have to project our own anger on other rivalries as well, man. Like, I would never say anything nice about United.
So Ray says, well, he likes Son, he likes Madison. He said, well,
Son.
The only
Madison an Arsenal fan.
The only team I hate that I can say bad about them is Chelsea. That's it.
Okay. Chelsea catching strays again. But is this true, Stephen? Madison is an Arsenal fan.
People always like to talk about that, man. Get this comment off the screen, man.
Everyone's a Liverpool fan, man. Like everyone's a
yes or no? I just asked a question. Yes or no?
Maybe growing up.
I have no idea.
I don't take this offline, guys.
Stephen, please, you need your own room. Get your room, please. He says, Stephen, everyone needs a partner that loves Josie like Stephen does.
Oh my God.
Ray says they know, and they are correct. Okay, about Madison. Okay, let's move to the next segment. We'll just wrap up the segment. And over here and in Europe, that's the thing. I think in America, you guys have a different Mother's Day, but it's Mother's Day over here. I think. Is it the same in America? Is it Mother's Day over there too? No. Yeah, you have different days. Yeah, but over here,
second Sunday of May.
Oh, second Sunday of May. No, ours is always in March.
I love that you remember that. I'm always the week before, like, oh no, it's almost Mother's Day.
So we're going to talk about women's football. Basically, it was International Women's Day on Friday, and then today's Mother's Day. So basically, it's one of the neglected categories that we don't speak about often enough. And I feel this is the time for us to just speak about women's football. I'll go with my perspective first. Liverpool, Linga will know this. One of the reasons why I had reservations about Liverpool owners was the way they treated our women's team. Liverpool won the league back to back, and then the owners stopped funding them, and basically the girls got relegated, and that was really bad to see. And now they're back in the league, in the top league. They're back in the top league, but it's not the same. Like, they were not as dominant as they were before. Liverpool women got knocked out of the FA Cup yesterday, sadly. But I just think the top clubs should really have, they should have a structure, especially the money that they're funneling into the women's game is not even much anyway. So why can't you just dedicate some structure to the women's game? So I'm going to just ask, I thank God we have a sports fan here, Arsenal fan. Arsenal women have been very successful over the years, so I'm sure Ace will be happy to talk about that. But Spurs women, do you know how are they doing? What's the improvement? The women's game generally, not just the clubs, but let's start with the clubs first. For your club, do you follow the women's team, Steven?
To be honest, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
That's a simple answer to that. But I do know that they've won 12 titles.
Whoa, wow.
I think they won a title in the women's league, like, I could be wrong, 2015 or 16. 2015, 16 or 17, something like that.
All right. Wow.
They're all right. They do well.
They do all right, yeah. But I know the dominant teams are for now are Chelsea and Man City are coming up. Yeah, Chelsea, especially with MIA's legendary manager.
Yeah. Who's leaving, but like,
she's a giant. Oh, wow. She's incredible. But I'll go to Ace. Do you have any thoughts about the Arsenal women's team? What do you think have improved in the club
not really,
football?
Not much. I don't really follow them, but I know that they're not doing bad. I don't really follow them, but just in the Champions League, I think they're not really where they're supposed to be, you know.
Yeah.
But in the league, I think they are doing well. But I don't watch a lot of women football. That's the truth.
Before I go to you, Linga, another annoying thing I find, because I'm based here in Ireland, next door to the UK, and there's a program called Match of the Day. Match of the Day is like where they show all the football highlights. And the annoying thing is, Match of the Day finishes around maybe 12 midnight, and then they start the women's football highlights after Match of the Day, like after 12 midnight. How many people are going to stay up to watch that? And they say they want to create you want to create awareness for the for women's football, but then you're even showing the highlights program after 12 midnight.
Late.
Nobody wants to stay up. Like, it's counterproductive, you know. Like, I record it because I do love watching women's football. So I record it because I don't want to stay up late to 1:30 a.m. watching that, but I'll record it and watch it. But how many people want to do that? So what's your view about the women's game, Linger?
It's kind of a bunch of different things. And like, I'm someone who, like, I watch some of our women's team games, but not a ton. Like, I know a lot of the players. I've been able to meet some of them, which is really cool. But like, I think I see a few general broad stroke problems. And I think that, like, one of them is just underfunding, of course. And speaking for Liverpool, like, to win the league with our men's team and get relegated with our women's team is just shocking. Really, like, it really is shocking. I think that, like, even think about the Match of the Day example. Just show the women's highlights first, because people are more likely to stay up for the men's highlights. So like, they're just waiting to make the things. I mean, put the women's games. I think a lot of the women's games are on maybe ESPN Plus here, but they're harder to find. I think honestly, for me, the men's sport just has an emotional head start. Like, I've just watched the Liverpool men's team since I was a child, and like, what I'm excited about is that a lot more people are watching the women's games, so people will grow up also watching the women's team and have that as regular. I think for us, like, we sold our training, we sold Melwood instead of like giving it to the women's team, and now the women's team can actually use it for training. Like, and now actually across the board with a lot of our teams, like, the women's team can play games in the main stadium, and that's huge. Like, there are big crowds. Like, you can see for Barcelona Femini and like all these, like, they pack the Bernabeu, they pack the Camp Nou. Like, a lot of people will go. Like, when our women's team is played at Anfield, a lot of people go. So when can we make things like that more accessible? There's a reality that it's just not going to be as watched probably ever, at least for a long time, but make it easy for people to consume. Like if you go see a Liverpool game, like there's more and more now they're offering coaches to people to go to the women's game. A women's game ticket is like 20 to 40 pounds. Like make it more accessible, bring more people in, because I want to watch it. I don't know if I have the emotional time to watch another team, but I do think that like we at least have a responsibility to fund our teams, even if we're not going to watch them as much. So like for me, the biggest thing is like get a lot of the women's teams into the main stadiums, like make the games more accessible, report on them more. Like things like the Anfield Wrap, a popular Liverpool thing, now has like someone who reports on the women's game. Like have more people talking about it, and then it will be more talked about.
Yeah, but to be honest, I know there's an improvement because it was worse. The state of the women's game was worse years ago, but at least getting better. And the reason I take your point where you say you don't have emotional attachment to them like the men's team. Of course, the men's team have a head start because there was a period where the women's football was more popular than men's football, and then they got banned. They got banned for over 70 years from being professional. This what happened in England. They banned them from playing, and of course that set back the women's sport because they didn't allow them to play professional football until like 1990 or something around that. So of course that's why they're going to lag behind the men, because sponsorship is not going to go there. No, because people are not really watching, so they're not getting sponsored and all of that. But it's improving because like I think is it Facebook user? I think that's probably Oluwaseun Wojo mentioned Arsenal ladies play in the Emirates now, and they have like 25,000 people showing up, which is fantastic. Before you probably could only get like 2,000 people showing up to watch women's football.
I mean, and but the Women's World Cup helps as well. Like that's so viewed in the United States because the women's team is so strong, and I think more people will then go watch some of the club teams.
Yeah, and Leo Brother also mentioned Arsenal women
is a baller.
Yeah, pretty cool to see. Fantastic support. Great ballers there. Russo from United, Vivian Maiden. Yeah, they have some very. Arsenal have always had a very strong women's team. I mean, I'm not sure if they won the Champions League, but they
though, like Lauren, what a sibling pair, Lauren and
Lauren James is healthy. She's amazing. Oh man, that girl is on fire, proper fire. She's really, really good. It's a pity our brother is so injury prone. That's the only problem.
I know, seriously.
Oluwaseun says Emma is leaving for that they're going to miss her in the women's sport. Emma A is from Chelsea. She's leaving. But she has been a fantastic legend. She's won everything, everything to win. Ayo mentions that bigger platform to cover women football, like Uncle Righty does on his platform. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, Aaron Wright. Nice. And Ayo says funding is a problem. Glazers have been horrible support for the women's. I can imagine the Glazers are just awful generally. Anyways, I can absolutely believe them not funding the women's team. Yeah, that's really bad. Lots of attacking firepower. They just need to click. Okay. And little brother is mentioning Arsenal women just broke their attendance record. Wow, over 60,000. That was for the North London derby and against United. That's good. I mean, it's improving. So it's good that there are more people going to watch, but we need more money. It's not just more people going to watch. You need more money coming into the sport.
Right.
Because I mean, the record transfer fee for a player was just maybe 2 million or 1 million, whatever.
Right.
It's not up to 10 million. That's the record transfer fee in the WSL. So yeah, they need to put more money in there. Yeah, okay. Oluwaseun says Arsenal women won the European Cup before it became the Champions League. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I know they've done very well. Arsenal women are usually strong, but Chelsea are like this gold standard now for a women's team. So yeah, so hopefully we'll get to talk more about the women's sports in later podcasts. At least I think we have a duty to also create awareness, because it's all well and good saying, oh, people are not watching it, but yeah, we should also try. I mean, we just try and encourage the women's sport. So we go to the final topic for today.
It's a lot.
I have something to say about
when you watch the Premier League, the Serie A, the French league. Like I try to watch all of those, so it's a lot. So you want to go back and be watching the women.
Even if it's just the highlights.
You forget.
Like me, I don't watch all the matches, but I watch the highlights.
It skips your mind.
I tend to watch women's national team football more than in the World Cup and all that, more than the club football though. But on the game in general, what I would say is, I think the tactic of trying to generate attention, maybe browbeat people a little bit to go watch the women's, why don't you watch the women's, is less productive than actually attending to the actual game, the enjoyment of the game. Because that's why people go. It's like art, right? It's like if you want to buy someone to buy a Twix over a Mars, you would try to make it more enjoyable than just asking them, hey, you need to go and let's put more money into the marketing of the Twix. So I think one of the ways that the game could be improved so that people want to watch it more is, I've seen it only with a few academies and clubs now. I think there are young girls who can train with the men, with the boys. Right now, it's so segregated. It's women's training, and then the men's, and they're funding women's training. But if you can get good youth footballers, female youth footballers, playing with the male youth footballers from a young age, so that they're both competing at the highest level, I think then at the top level, when they're adults, the gap is not going to be so wide.
Yeah,
I think I disagree a little bit.
That may be difficult to do because you have to still pay attention to the integrity of the game and keep the intensity at a certain level. But the more that you can do that, and a few academies are doing it now in Canada. So if you have that all through the age groups, I think there are a lot of women that can compete at the same level as the men, and it'll really raise the speed of play of the women's game. Because that's what people
linger.
Like, I don't know if it has to be that though, because I don't think that like.
No, it doesn't have to be that. That's an idea. I'm giving an idea, an opinion.
Let's see.
I don't think
let's
the
hear the
women's
counterpoint.
game is like much worse to watch or anything. Like, I don't think that's true. I think it's just different in the same way that like my example is always like women's and men's tennis, which are pretty different. And people are amazing. And Serena Williams has been like, but if I played a man, I would lose almost immediately because it's just like a different way of playing. So I don't think I agree that we shouldn't browbeat people, but we can still encourage them. And I don't think like the women now have to be as good as the men for it to be enjoyable. I think it's just slightly different. Like if you watch the Women's World Cup, like there's some fire games there, not like the men's sport, but still really enjoyable.
I so not enough people think that. And that's
I agree with that.
They're not getting the attendance. But there's so many different solutions, right?
Yeah, that's a good suggestions. I mean, all around. I mean, I just think it's an entirely different sport. And like Facebook user, I think that's Oluwaseun Ojo mentioned, the record fee for a player is 1 million, and that's just recent.
Crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
So
look at the disparity. When the record fee for the men is 220 million for one player.
See, that's what I'm saying. Look what you're doing right now. So you're comparing.
I'm not saying they have to be the same. I'm just saying, I'm telling you the gap is so wide. I'm not saying they have to be the same. I'm saying the gap is so wide. Of course, they're not going to be the same. Did you hear what I just said? They are different sports. It's a sport. It's the same sport, but they are played differently. So we don't expect it to be the same. But this disparity doesn't have to be this large. It doesn't have to be 1 million to 220 million. How do you think that's fair? 220 million for a man, and then 1 million is the record for the woman. Does that sound good to you?
Sport is not about fairness; it's about merit. You're comparing Russell to who's the 220 million player.
No, you can't say sports not about fairness. That's why you advocate for things to get better. If we all sit back and say, "Oh, this shouldn't get better because it's not meant to get better," then things will never get better. If you just sit back and say, "Oh, okay, yeah, it's not supposed to be fair," but look at the women's team for the US team. They fought for equal pay, and now they get equal pay. They have to fight for it.
I never said that, but you're making a bad comparison and then complaining about the disparity. You can't compare those two players. That's not that comparison doesn't help you.
I'm not saying she has to cut 220 million. I'm saying it's just so wide. It's so wide. Why should it be that wide?
It's logical, but it just reveals the disparity.
It's unreal. Okay, let's just wrap up that section anyway. Okay, so we have Ray saying he watches a bit of Arsenal, the Arsenal ladies, so he doesn't mind being on the podcast. That's great. Interesting story.
A bunch of us should just take a week and be like, we're all going to try and catch like some of the women's games, then talk about them.
I watch the highlights. I record the highlights and watch it. That's what I do. But because I can't, because it's difficult to find the games online. They don't show the games live. So even if I wanted to watch it live, I wouldn't be able to find any links to really watch it. Only occasionally they show some of the games. So it's even difficult.
I can tell you how you watch it. If most clubs, like if you sign up for their fan TV,
right? If
you Liverpool show
access to the men's and
Liverpool. Yeah, they do, but they don't show the other matches. That's what I mean. I don't want to watch only Liverpool. I want to watch games from, like, sometimes I want to watch Man City against Chelsea. No, do you know why? Because Man City against Chelsea.
You gotta start somewhere. I mean, start with Liverpool.
Sure.
Yeah.
True. Okay, interesting story. Harry Kane met his now wife from the sports academy. Wow. Nice. I didn't know that. Awesome. Harry Kane's wife. I agree with Steven here, but when more people watch, there'll be more money. Hopefully. Yeah. Okay, let's round up and we just go on the non-football question. Basically just reality TV shows. There are just a lot of them knocking about. But which one is your current favorite? I'll start with you, Ace. Just one reality show that you really enjoy watching at this moment.
I think the last one I saw, it's been a long time though. I think it's the Temptation Island or so. I used to follow it, so I just try to watch it because I like whatever they do. Like, kind of interesting though. So
okay, not bad. Temptation Island. I'm not sure it's probably still going on. Is it still on? Temptation Island?
No, they just finished. It's a season. They
finished the season.
Yeah.
So.
And what about you, Linger?
I don't watch reality TV at all, but Dune Part 2 is amazing. Everyone go watch Dune Part 2. That's my own reality of the Fremen and the desert and all that stuff. Like, I honestly don't watch reality TV. Like, maybe like the overlap or something, like football podcasts.
So, Linger, when the Liverpool documentary comes out, you're not going to watch it because you don't watch
behind the scenes stuff. I watch Bezzy's Liverpool.
That's reality. Yeah, that's reality TV. That's reality TV.
And I love Liverpool stuff. No, I don't really watch reality TV, but I see everyone posting all the time about Love Is Blind. It all sounds so interesting, but I never go watch it. It seems like there's some scandalous stuff happening, and I have no idea. I don't watch reality TV at all.
What about you, Steven?
Dune, though. Dune is amazing.
Okay, thank you, Dune marketer. Steven, please.
You gotta go Love Is Blind, man. I gotta go Love Is Blind.
Wow.
I gotta go. You know, Love Is Blind. Nobody wants to admit that they watch Love Is Blind, but there's all these watches and videos on YouTube. But it's not bad. It's a crazy show. I watch it for.
So what's the format? Is it basically a dating show? Because I've not watched it.
If you're interested in people, it's great to watch how people act. You know how people scheme and strategize, even about something like relationships. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the one I watched recently, the one I really got into recently, it's a bit like what you just described, Steven, but it's not a dating show. It's called Traitors. Traitors. There have been 2 seasons in the UK, and I think there's 1 season in the US. It's basically a game of strategy.
UK reality shows are crazy, by the way. If you've never, I lived in England. Like, all those shows are a whole other level of man, it's scary.
But it's a franchise now. I think they started in the UK, but it's franchised out to the US and other countries now. And it's just people backstabbing each other and trying to win some money. It's really good. It's a good format. It's all about scheming and strategizing and all of that. And just lying to people's faces, basically. Yeah, so that's mine.
Like the Manchester United dressing room, but then Oga's not here for me to roast him, so.
Yeah, that's a reality show.
Manchester United is a reality
I would love
TV
that.
Show.
Like
the whole club itself is a reality TV show. I mean, seriously, Man United fans, sorry for catching stray bullets in this podcast, boss man. Sorry, you guys are.
It's okay. As Oga would say, Thunder will fire us.
United and Chelsea, they're going to bounce back. Give them time, like 20
years.
2030.
2030. Yeah. Last one year. Let's do 2060, please. 2060. Anyway, thanks guys for coming on today. Thank you for everybody that joined in the comments. This was a very interactive pod today, and let's keep it up. We really appreciate all your comments, all the banter, all the jibes. I and Steven, I hope you can continue your bromance off screen. We here, we're just happy with the point. And also Ace, thank you for joining us. Arsenal fan.
You. Not London forever.
Not London forever. Okay. You have to throw that in.
Hey, man, good stuff.
You have to throw that in. Thank you, Linga, Prince Klaus. Thanks for joining us. Sorry we cut short your drinking session. Sorry about that. But
you owe me.
You owe Linga.
All right, I got to comment, correct something real quick. I said sports is about fairness, but I was speaking to the meritocracy of sport. Okay, sometimes that's not fair. I just want to make that clear.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks, everyone, and thanks for joining us. See you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.